Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And you know, it was little channels like mine, the Loving Life channel, that were the first back in January this year. No other YouTube channel in South Africa was talking about this at that time. We're alerting people to the dangers of this nasty COVID-19 virus and what it was going to do. And that was based on information that we received from scientists, from media organizations, mainstream media organizations, the fake news, and of course, because of the overwhelming evidence, we parroted this. Now, what's turning out to be the truth is that this COVID-19 is, it's like, you know those Super Balls that you bounce, you go, and they bounce, and they go higher and higher and higher. That's a Super Ball. That's infectious. That's deadly. Okay, now the COVID-19 virus is infectious, very infectious, like the influenza virus. But it's like a damn squid. It's like a piece of putty. You drop it on the floor and it just goes nowhere. That's basically the difference between what you're being told right now in the mainstream media, and they're trying to find a way to cover this up because they've been caught with their pants down. Because clearly, the coronavirus, or COVID-19 to be more specific, is not as deadly as they have been suggesting. And I have been alerted to this fact a few days ago, and I've been telling people about this and providing information on this. And now we have a situation where in South Africa, dozens of Western Cape supermarket workers are infected with COVID-19. And guess what? They didn't even know they had it. Asymptomatic. I put up a video a short while ago on the 2020 channel where a study in Germany showed that the actual number of infections of COVID-19 is so much bigger than the official results. And what that actually tells us is that the deadly nature of the COVID-19 virus is completely thrown out the window. People who've got previous ailments, are elderly, they've got problems with their lungs, well, of course, it's like a target practice for the COVID-19, as it is for influenza. But why is the COVID-19 being treated differently to the influenza? This is a big question. You look at the involvement of Bill Gates, the World Health Organization, vaccinations, making sure that people, every person walking this earth has a vaccination that can identify them. That sounds like the mark of the beast to me. And this is what Bill Gates and the Bill and Melinda Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are pushing for. It's absolutely incredible. Now, getting back to just like a little cluster that's been identified, okay? Because they picked up a few, and because they've now got a few testing kits in South Africa, they decided to check it out. They could do this anywhere in South Africa and they would find the same thing. I'm telling you right now, because most people with this virus are asymptomatic. They have no symptoms, but they are infectious as hell. They're passing out the virus to other people, and if you happen to be in one of the groups where you've got an ailment or you're elderly and you've got an issue, yeah, it hits you. Just like the virus, the influenza virus. There's no difference between the two. I'll add a bit of meat to the bone. According to Western Cape Health MEC, Noma French Mbombo, grocery shops are proving to be a fertile breeding ground for COVID-19. This is after over 200 supermarket workers tested positive for the novel virus. See that? So they decided to go and check the supermarkets, and they found a high percentage of the people working there have the virus. It's not because they were showing symptoms or they were sick. It's because they went and tested them. And they found, even though they were asymptomatic, which means there was absolutely no sign of them having the virus, they had it. Now, consider this fact across any other area in South Africa. You could go and pick people who go fishing. You could go and pick people who fly hot air balloons. You could go and pick people who sit on the side and sell veggies. You could pick any group in South Africa and you would find, because you actually tested them for the COVID-19 virus, that you'd say, whoa, this group is clearly a fertile breeding ground for COVID-19. Think about it. Most people who get COVID-19 don't even know that they've got the virus because their immune systems deal with it. And yet the whole of South Africa is being locked down. The economy is being destroyed. You've got power-hungry Ramaphosa setting the army loose to go and be deployed and do what they like across the country. You've got a police service that's completely out of control, targeting the minority groups, and we got so much evidence of that. But when it comes to the wider black population, looting, doing what they do, milling around in towns and cities, nothing gets done. And the classic, I think probably the most iconic image of this whole debacle is going to be the image I show you right now. Okay, look, I know I've said this so many times, but it's like with Vicky Momberg and her being in prison for 2 years for hate speech. Let's look at this in perspective. You got black people mingling, doing what they like. Okay, if they're in a township and the police come through or the army come through, bang, they get in trouble. But if you look at the cities and the towns around South Africa, any working day of the week, there are queues and queues and queues. I've seen the videos of these people milling around and nothing is done. It's absolutely crazy. Now, with this white woman walking her dog in this photo that I've just shown you, 3 police cars, not 1, 3 police cars, and 7 police basically tracked her down and arrested her. It's, as I say, it's a soft target. You've got an elderly, or looks like an elderly lady with a young dog or a small dog who's been pursued by a number of police. But when it comes to looting and whatever, the police sit on the side and watch as if they're watching some kind of a real parody television show. They have absolutely no interest in getting involved or putting themselves at risk. It is absolutely disgraceful. Let's get back to the story here. I'm sorry, guys, I'm just on a rant. According to the Western Health MEC, Nama French and Bombo, grocery shops are proving to be a fertile breeding ground for COVID-19 because they actually tested people working there. This is after over 200 supermarket workers tested positive for the novel virus. Earlier in the week, 3 shops closed temporarily, each having an employee tested positive for COVID-19. The affected stores are in Kuilsrivier near Cape Town, Somerset West, and one in the Zevenwacht area. On Wednesday, the Shoprite Group confirmed the closure of its Checkers store in Zevenwacht. They said, after one of our colleagues at Checkers Zevenwacht tested positive for COVID-19, we closed the store and brought in a professional decontamination company to sanitize and deep clean the store. We have informed the National Health Institute for Communicable Diseases, or NICD, and the Department of Health. An employee screening program supported by the company's mobile clinic was immediately put in place. Those employees who had close contact with the infected person are now self-quarantining for 14 days. Do you see what I'm talking about here? Imagine if every year when the flu came around and people started sneezing and coughing and sniffling and they had to go into quarantine and you had a lockdown. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about a COVID-19 virus which, according to all the latest, this is the latest scientific evidence, has no higher mortality rate than the influenza virus. And yet the whole economy in South Africa is being put to risk because of this crazy situation. There's something going on here behind the scenes, and I think that Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are clearly involved in what's happening here, because they've been applying for patents for the coronavirus for nearly 20 years, and now they're looking for every person on earth to have a vaccine that identifies them. Yeah, it's not just a vaccine like it used to be. Remember, you had the polio injection or the polio vaccine, and that would stop you getting polio, and then you went on your merry way. No, this is very different. This is a vaccine that will leave something on your body that can be identified so people can see who you are and where you are. This is a very different type of vaccine technology that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are trying to push into every single person on earth. They are part of the deep state. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that because I've had a bit of a rant here. I'm just so pissed off. I'm starting to understand stuff that's going on because I spend hours every day researching this shit. And when you get people who know what's going on, you're shown documents which show you exactly what is going on, patents in the name of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation about coronavirus. Not specifically in their name, because they're not that dumb, but in the name of laboratories that they are funding. This is a very, very disturbing area. And the fact that the whole of the world is in lockdown over something that's no worse than the flu, when people who are homeless in the Cape at Strandfontein are pushed into like a concentration camp when they got TB, and TB is very infectious. But people without TB are pushed into the same area as people with TB because of the COVID-19 virus, which is no worse than an influenza virus. You've got to understand there is something not right here. We'll get our finger on it eventually, but clearly this is part of what the deep state are trying to do to the world. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.